Welcome to Controversies of the Day. How's everybody doing out there? Happy Spring Equinox to everybody. And I hope you had a good St. Patrick's Day. My buddy Bob, oh dear folks, I probably shouldn't share this on YouTube, but Bob, what did you do to that leprechaun? Bob, you can't do those things. Bob, not right. Well, I might have to talk to Karen about that, Bob. Anyway, folks, look, I like to be happy, I like to be joyous. We haven't really talked about the fourth turning and gone all doom and gloom negative. Obviously, with a new president, we try to be a little more hopeful about world peace and peace and prosperity in general. But then, man, oh man, I tell you, you wake up here in late March and wow, we got ceasefires that ended between Hamas and Israel, the IDF, if you will. And the IDF, Israeli Defense Forces, with Hezbollah, things are heating up between them and the Lebanese terrorist group. I got the Houthi situation in the waters there. It's just a complete mess. And then the really sad thing is we thought we were going to come into some kind of ceasefire with Ukraine and Russia. And there was just some airport or something that was blown up recently over there in Russia, and then the Russians are firing back. So I'll tell you, folks, I know that a lot of you are, you're like, well, that's always going on over there. And everybody's getting kind of numb, and they think, oh, well, that's way over there. Well, I hope you're right about that. And by the way, we can't forget the things that was going on in Ireland, a lot of social acrimony going on there, a rough situation with the immigrant policy and the government policy going there. Conor McGregor, former UFC champion, his weight class, he's talking about running for office over there. So that's some crazy stuff going on there. Turkey, there's a mayor detained of a major city who may run for the prime minister or president spot that Erdogan occupies at the moment. So definitely there's a lot of protests in the streets going on about that. So lots of stuff going on all over the planet. Again, I know a lot of people, people are just they get kind of numb to it. They're like, oh, they're all nuts and that goes on over there. But then after a while, you got to wonder, folks, is something going to happen right here? Speaking of things that have happened here before, and we like to go back and talk about the past because we do think that things do relate to one another once in a while. This was extremely interesting. Now, Bibi, that's his nickname. You know him as Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister currently of Israel. Bibi was in a little trouble before the terrorist act of October 7th, 2023. Before that, he was in a lot of political trouble in Israel. Well, we found some video here we thought was very, very interesting. We like to break this down at a number of different levels. So if we want to just share this to our producer, Logan, if you could just share this with everybody, I want everybody to take a quick look at this.
Well, I was getting this question in the 1990s, and I said that the West really doesn't understand militant Islam. So I wrote a book in 1995, and I said that if the West doesn't wake up to the suicidal nature of militant Islam, the next thing you'll see is the militant Islam is bringing down the World Trade Center.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's a very, very interesting piece of information and just interesting piece of history we just showed right there. Now that was aired and during an interview some years back. I want to say it was 2008 because if you look, it says Israel at 60, and we know Israel was formed in 1948, and so that probably came out about 2008. And he's obviously referencing in the past 9/11, but he's also referencing that he himself really predicted it in 1995, in his book, Fighting Terrorism by Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, let's put this into context, okay? Now, I know some people could see this and go, oh, well, now, was Bibi in on 9/11? And okay, somebody can make their own judgment on that. I want to just break it down for what we know to be true here. And you can do what you will with this, okay? So here's how it goes. Bibi comes out with this book in 95, Benjamin Netanyahu. He's referencing that if America doesn't take radical Islam or violent Islamists seriously, that the World Trade Center will go down. It eventually did in 2001. But why is he referencing that in a 1995 book? Well, because there was an attempt in early 1993 to bring down the towers. I know a guy, and maybe you do too, who actually went to New York City in 1998. Did you hear it? Get the date straight. 98. 5 years after the first attempt on the trade centers and 3 years before they actually came down. This loser, this nothing, nobody, uneducated piece of dirt on the bottom of your shoe, went to the Empire State Building. It was a gloomy, cloudy, ominous day, and looked down in lower Manhattan at the towers. And I remember reading in Time magazine, you know, because that was the thing back then. Time magazine, oh, I mean, this is the media, this is the press, they're telling you like it is. And they said that the terrorists in 93, they wanted to set off bombs in the towers, and they wanted the towers to fall into each other like a whole domino effect. That's what they wanted to do, according to Time magazine. Okay? So then Bibi's writing a book. He references it that, you know what? He's saying, hey, if you don't listen, if you don't pay attention, if you don't care, if you don't do enough, then they're really going to go down, which of course they did. So think what you might. You make up your own mind. First attempt was in 93 that we know about. Bibi comes out with the book in 95. A loser goes to New York City for the first and only time so far. Looks at the towers and thinks, wow, that'd be awful, that'd be horrible. 3 years later, horrible actually happens. And then we see Bibi talking about on a show, talking about 60 years of Israel. And he talks about how he warned in his book that 9/11 basically could happen. So I broke it all down for you. You do what you want to do there. In our present day, Benjamin Netanyahu, he is prime minister again of Israel. And what a mess. Is there ever going to be peace? We want peace. Do you want peace? Does the world want? You give peace a chance. Does anybody care? I really wonder. I really wonder. And you really don't want to see anything like September 11th ever happen within our borders ever again. Because as we know, there's always that thing that happens, like a Pearl Harbor, et cetera, Gulf of Tonkin incident, et cetera, 9/11. So here we are. The world is very tense. Israel has lots of enemies around it. We've got trouble with Ukraine and Russia that's been going on for what, was it 3 years now? This is crazy. So many people have died. A lot of people have made a lot of money though, haven't they, off of U.S. taxpayers' expense. Ukraine's done pretty well. Zelensky's wife's got to go shopping in Paris. So nice for her, huh? So nice for her. And here we are, folks. So again, and then we got saber rattling going on over the tariff issue with China. Now, hopefully that's all going to calm down here. Hopefully this is just part of the art of the deal, and we're going to get some deals worked out with the tariff situation, and everything will calm down. Whew. There's a lot right there to unpack, folks. You want a little good news? Let's sprinkle in a little bit of good news. A little bit of good news is, in the financial world, maybe you've seen this fella, Tom Lee. He's on CNBC a lot, and he's kind of bullish for this year for stocks. He thinks when stocks dip, which they've been under pressure here in early 2025, he thinks it's a buying opportunity. So check out Tom Lee. Again, I'm not telling you to do that, but Tom Lee, CNBC. There's a lot of videos of him talking. Interesting guy. Oscar Carboni. Yes, Oscar Carboni. He's somebody not as well known, but also a very smart dude. And he is very bullish on stocks for this year and on Bitcoin, of all crazy things. So who will be right? Who will be wrong? We shall see what happens. If the world goes to heck and we get more involved in wars, I just can't imagine that the stock market is going to also rise the way Mr. Lee and Mr. Carboni seem to think it's going to. But again, we'll see what happens. Tom Lee has been very right about the stock market the last few years. I can tell you, nobody hits the batting average of 1,000. Okay, use a little baseball metaphor there. Mr. Lee was very bullish about the stock market going back some years, right before the 2008 crash. So, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. Anyway, sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. All right. Moving on to other things, folks. Oh, did anybody see Joe Walsh? Joe Walsh on Patrick Bet-David's Valuetainment. Oh my God, folks. Yeah, can I vent? Can I vent? Yeah, and you know, I do champion myself to be a right winger. Maybe some of you thought of this Mr. Walsh at one point as a right winger. Now, first of all, let's clarify the whole situation. Who is Joe Walsh? Okay. Well, talk about a nothing and a nobody. He's on his way to being that real quick. Not talking about the old Joe Walsh from the Eagles. Not that we like. Yeah, he's a cool guy, and I'm so jealous of you, Mr. Walsh, because you at one point got to know every sweet little part of Stevie Nicks' body. I miss you, Stevie. I miss you, Stevie. Oh, sorry. And then so did the other guy from the Eagles, Don Henley. So anyway, Stevie got around. She's my favorite little witch. But that's all off to the side. Sorry for letting me go down that tangent for a second. I gotta lighten it up a little bit, folks. It's scary as hell. This world's going to, you know where it's going. It's going to Hades in a handbasket. But Joe Walsh, he's a former Illinois congressman. Okay, I think he rode the whole, Tea Party wave, maybe back in 2010. I don't know when he first got in there. Anyway, he was on PBD, and he just, oh my God. I don't like talking like this, but talk about a D-bag, talk about a douchebag. Oh my God, talk about a real see you next Tuesday. Oh my God. Joe Walsh, you are, oh my God. You are ridiculous. I don't know why in the heck PBD, who I do think a lot of, and his whole crew, I love those guys, enjoy the show a lot. I don't know why they brought you down there. I think you got up and you walked off the set. You're a child. You might have mental illness. I don't know. You definitely got something wrong with you. I think he's been on MSDNC a little bit. So he's a never Trumper, folks, if you're not familiar with this guy. And I think he's just, he's just clinging like a cat, just clinging. Please don't take my 15 minutes away. He had a radio show for a while in Chicago. Anyway, I think he's on his way to being yesterday's news. And I just got to say, Pat, I love you. I love your show. Why are you bringing on people like him? Bring me on. Bring Logan and I down to Florida. And hey, come on, man. We'll come down and we'll talk about podcasts and the future of media. And how everything is being revolutionized and everything's changing so fast. But anyway, Joe Walsh, I don't know, maybe, Pat, you just wanted to, have somebody to argue with. Maybe it was fun for a little bit. I don't know. I give you credit for having people on that, you've had Anthony Weiner on, for example. That got pretty contentious as well. But hey, anyway, Pat, that was just crazy stuff. So lots of things going on here, folks. Talking about all the different foreign affairs that I'm very, very concerned about. And obviously the JFK files, we'll be talking more and more about that as we go. I think what's already been analyzed by everybody that Lee Harvey Oswald was the CIA, whatever you want to call it, asset, something. If he wasn't an agent, he was an operative. He was somebody that they were following. They had a purpose for Mr. Oswald. That's definitely been revealed so far. Lots of stuff going on with Elon Musk. Oh boy, the Democrats and these wacky lefties are out there. Used to love this guy. You love EVs and everything. I don't have an EV. I'm not looking to get an EV. I'm not looking to get a Tesla. I don't know, but some violence and some vandalism is going on different places over the country to Elon Musk and his Tesla dealerships. Terrible. Peaceful protest is wonderful, okay? But let's keep it peaceful. Let's keep it lawful, especially at the universities now, like Columbia University, that whole situation there. I believe in free speech, folks, okay? And we've got to always keep free speech very sacred and special because it is one of the great things about this country, United States of America. We don't want to lose that, okay? Now, I don't think you should be able to violently intimidate people and block people from getting to class and do things that would make people feel uncomfortable just moving from one building to another building. They're there for study purposes. And my goodness, if someone's Jewish and you rip on them, you don't know if they're pro-Israel or anti-Israel. There's many, again, I just want to say this, I've said this on the show before, maybe it goes over some people's heads. Not all Jews are Zionists, okay? And not all Zionists are Jews. So just let that sink in a little bit, okay? That's a whole issue, and boy, we've talked about it a little bit before. It's a crazy one, and we'll probably come back to it again in this crazy world. But free speech, let's always hold that sacred. And we can disagree, and universities should be a place of being able to disagree in a thoughtful, right? In a thoughtful, intelligent way. That's what they should be. Leo is doing a great job for President Trump. He's been handling some of that stuff. So I hope they continue to do a good job, but not sacrifice our free speech. Gotta have our free speech, folks. All right. Maybe next week's show we'll talk about The Surfer, this crazy new Nicolas Cage movie that's coming out. I want to end the show on some kind of a high note. Wrestlemania coming up, I think, down the road here, maybe in a couple weeks. So we look forward to that as well. And if you are a wrestling fan, by the way, and I know there's some fans out there, but very lucky on the East Coast and in the Midwest, as Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, he's out there and he's promoting, is it Real American Beer? I think that's what it's called. And so if you might get a chance to meet Hulk Hogan and maybe Jimmy Hart, Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Anyway, folks, just want to end the show kind of on a high note. It's crazy. It's kooky out there. Love each other. Mwah, love one another. And thank you to everybody out there for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. Please tell a friend. Hit the likes. Hello and shout out to Trevor, to Chris, to Miguel, to Dave and Vicky and everybody down in Florida, Julia too. And to John and Nicole as well. Everybody take care. God bless. Talk to you soon.